sigonsiimira.
Phone is going to vibrate.
Tandike.
Tuli kumpewo. Kukifaananyi otulaba.
No, producer didn't want me, but welcome to a new episode of the Weekly Wowos. My name is Dennis Musali, your weekly host. Usually we start with, those things, then we come on, but today the man has just said, Tuli kumpewo. Call me off guard. But welcome to an interesting episode of the Weekly Wars. A lot of stuff to diverge into and digest everything that you've read on Kawowo Sports in a bigger context. We have a big result from the Rugby League, and I have the privilege of having Joseph Man Mahumza here with us to break it down, Rugby connoisseur, and the editor of Kawowo Sports, Franklin Kawowo, who will be telling us all about the Silverbacks and their trip to Cairo, Alexandria. That was not very, very successful, and on top of that, they were caught in the melee, which wasn't their fault at all. But they've been caught up in the drama that is happening elsewhere. We'll be breaking all of that down on this episode of the Weekly Wars. Maybe let me start with my starter this week. Usually I go to you guys, but my starter this week is from, of course, the world of cricket. New cricket format we started this week, and this time I've committed myself to play for Wanderers for at least, we have only 7 games because of the new format. I hope I can play at least 5 out of those 7, but unfortunately, of the 5, the one that I wanted to play this weekend just never happened because of the rain.
Shall we count that? So
I
you
know
would love to play 5 or 6
I know
now.
it doesn't count, but at least I appeared on the team sheet. Even if it rains, you have to hand in the team sheet. But sometimes it's so painful to travel to Kameng and you never get a game in because the hassle, the traffic
on
and
that
all.
Massacre Road.
It's only fair that you get to play, but this time, unfortunately, never got to play. But a new format for the Cricket League, and the stories on Kawowo Sports are breaking it down and the details. 3 divisions this time, 3 divisions from the 2 that were there. The Gold Division with 8 teams, the Silver Division with another 8 teams, and then the other 8 teams are also split into 2 groups in the Silver Division. So it is you move up from the bronze into the silver, and then the silver to the gold, sort of to just try and make sure that the league is spread over and the games can happen as quickly as possible. So by May the league will be done. Usually it drags all the way out to December, but by May the league should be done. A bit of complaints from the teams because sort of it reduces the amount of cricket you're going to play. But I think from the perspective of the organization, more games for the clubs does not translate into anything tangible. So in this case, I think less is more for the clubs, even if they had an issue with it. But we'll wait and see how it goes. But Wanderers in a different context, a younger team. Hopefully, we'll need prayers in that second division.
a young team, but you're the captain of the team.
By the time they wake up in the morning and they are counting on me,
you may raise the age average for the whole team.
By the time they wake up in the morning and they are counting on me, things are not very, very good. But
that's the most reliable player on
the
the
last
team.
time when the second division, I had a very good run. Lots of runs I scored. So I'm hoping that.
I remember the century you scored in Ginger.
Exactly. I'm hoping I enjoy some of that buffet bowling from those school kids. I may
you may smash them all over the park.
Yeah, I may want back the clock in a bit of time. But the details of that story on Kawowo Sports, the website, if you want to find out more about the new cricket league format. Let me go to Joseph. Joseph, your starter this week.
My starter this week is from rugby, and not anything that happened on the pitch, but off the pitch, Uganda's Rugby Union president, that is Mr. Godwin Kayangwe Ayinaitwe, was elected to the Rugby Africa Executive Committee as a member. And that happened here in Uganda. Uganda hosted that 17th annual AGM, and AGM. Annual is already covered in the AGM. Yes, Uganda hosted the 17th AGM of the Rugby Africa
you don't
Cup,
have to say
and,
NIN number
Yes.
or TIN number.
and yeah, delegates were around. They came, they voted, they deliberated, they made some reforms. But most importantly, on Saturday, they went out and watched two very incredible games at the Chadondo Rugby Club. That was the first game, the Thunderbirds versus the Black Pearls, and then the main game, which was the Heathens hosting the Pirates.
Yeah, I saw a lot of them making their way to Chadondo, even in the rain. I don't know if the rain sort of and the guys falling in that mud. I don't know whether it takes away the beauty of that's the beauty of the sport. Rugby is a bit different from cricket, but anything tangible from the AGM for African rugby?
Yes, apart from the election of apart from the election of Godwin, they deliberated on some reforms. For example, things like for someone to hold a Rugby Africa office, you should be a delegate from your own country. Then they also introduced term limits. It's now a maximum of 3 terms, and each term is about 4 years. So practically, Herbert Mensah is remaining with he's remaining with 2 more terms to serve. And the one grey area, though, was that in that regulation where someone is supposed to be holding office in their country, for them to be able to be on the Rugby Africa ExCom, that begs a question because Herbert Mensah is no longer the president of the Ghana Rugby Union. There is now a new lady who is in charge. So now, does he go back and get re-elected into a position in the Ghana Rugby Union, or they sort of work out their things. But some of the other developments, and these ones were mostly off the book and not announced, but these ones are important for Uganda. They were talking about hosting the HSBC Sevens Division 3 in Uganda, and they were talking about things like determinants like a government's willingness to invest, Uganda's willingness to host and all that. But for me, the main thing is we have never failed to host. However, we have to qualify first. So I think that is the main. I think that is the main thing for Uganda, sporting-wise. We have to qualify first. And how do we qualify? For example, last year we were supposed to retain the Rugby Africa Cup that we had won in 2024. Which we failed, and we finished miserably in 6th position. And Madagascar was the lucky one to go and take that position in the Division 3 because Kenya was already in Division 2 and South Africa was already in Division 1, so for him they had already qualified. So now what we have to do is to make sure that we win at least the Rugby Africa Cup that is going to happen again this year. They were talking about either Mauritius or Nairobi, but they will confirm. And I think also the 7 team has started training. The good news is Norbert Okenya is in there, Alex Aturinda is in there, Aaron Oferoth has also returned, plus the other players who have been around the block are all training with that team. Then the other and the last main development for me was talking about the introduction of the Rugby Africa 7 series. The way you see the HSBC series going from city to city and whatnot. Yes, now also for Africa they are trying to they are trying to introduce that 7 series where the competition moves from city to city. They were talking about countries like Mauritius, countries like Namibia, Uganda, Kenya, who are already willing to host some of these tournaments. And they're also talking about how it is going to be, how the Rugby Africa 7 series is going to be in a 2-tier system. Of course, you find the Ugandas and Kenya, South Africa, and whatnot. Of course, South Africa and not the Blitzboks, who will be playing in that Division 1. And then the Division 2 will be played at a regional basis where, say, for example, if it is football, you find the COSAFA, you find SECAFA, they play within their regions, and then the winners get promoted, and then the bottom sides from the first division get relegated back to their regions.
Wow, okay, interesting stuff.
Interesting.
And
especially that part of having a series. I mean, I think that would be a lot of rugby for players to play. Of course, especially the lower ranked sides to have a bit of experience of playing at the highest level. Of course, it doesn't matter what team South Africa is putting together, or even the Shuja are putting together, the Kenyan side is putting together. But when you have players across the continent continuously competing against peers who are a little bit at a higher level, I think it is going to elevate the game a little more. And then, of course, it creates opportunities.
Yeah,
for
I think
business opportunities for hosting cities.
Exactly, and I think one of the things that Africa has to learn is that no one is going to come and save us. We always waiting for someone to either throw money at us and then throw opportunities. But I'll give you from an example from where we come from in the cricketing world. The amount of cricket that the teams in Asia play, just in their own block, outside of these ICC events where the ones that we wait for, is so much, especially from the junior teams, and not just the national team, but junior teams, women teams. So they've sort of closed the gap on even the bigger teams in Asia, such that their qualification in the World Cup is so competitive, they had to take away an automatic spot from the Oceania region and pile them together with Asia. Because the teams that come from the Oceania region, even if they combine with the teams in Asia, they will still get knocked out because Asia was looking for an opportunity. So those tournaments, like you've mentioned, they are really opportunities that we need to either find our own money or find some rich sheikh and then sell them an idea and run with it. Otherwise, there's literally no one is, because if you keep waiting for maybe Iraq and then it will take another year before it comes back around. Yet, if you keep playing these other tournaments outside of the formal ones, you sort of give your players an edge that can help them compete.
Absolutely.
But interesting stuff there from the Rugby Africa AGM. Uganda is hosting a lot of these things. There's something they're not telling us. Hopefully the rugby can be able. It's only the rugby that needs to match the opportunities that are coming to Uganda. Franklin, you started this week.
Can I have two? Anyway, I'll have one, but I think we shall delve into it a little bit later. But the Silverbacks almost came close to kind of pulling a result against Mali. I thought they played a very, very good half of basketball in that game, and then wheels fell off. Couldn't buy a basket in the third quarter. And I think what we talked about here last week, that it's going to be very hard to pick anything over there. It just came to happen. But I thought the competition and after falling so badly off in the first game, I think the response they had in the game against Mali, especially in that first half, was very, 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 very impressive.
Yeah, my only problem with the basketball was our inability to find where to watch the game. It was so difficult to. I think I struggled to watch the first game, but somehow I eventually did. But I missed out on the other two because I was trying to find information. How do you watch? How do you watch was really a big problem. I don't know why is that the case with basketball compared to other sports that have sort of opened up now, that even if you want to watch Sir Joseph 17 Dida playing table tennis, you find a link somewhere. But basketball was so hectic.
Yeah, but also I think officially, as far as I can remember, I think FIBA had an agreement with Star Times Sub-Saharan. I had an agreement, I think, with Star Times to be the official broadcasters of the FIBA-related tournaments, senior FIBA tournaments. You're talking Afro-Basket, you're talking World Cup qualifiers, and that kind of tournaments at that level. And that had been the case, I think, until even the previous Afro-Basket, the most recent Afro-Basket of the women. It was on, I think, Star Times showing. I just learned that Canal Box, is it Canal? Canal?
Yeah, Canal Box.
Yeah, Canal. I think I took over those rights to show the games. I mean, to broadcast the games in Sub-Saharan Africa. And I think that communication did not get a lot of. I think it was not pushed out properly.
So the games were showing on Canal. If you had Canal,
on
you were able to
ESPN, basically, yes. So that happened. But also they have a subscription platform, like as you have ICC TV and all that. They have Courtside, which is a subscription platform that shows all FIBA games, whether it's FIBA America.
Free or you pay something?
I said subscription.
It can be free subscription.
Yeah, you pay. You
No,
pay.
ICC TV is absolutely free.
for some tournaments.
Yeah, for if you're in Africa.
So I think that is it. It was a bit difficult to get any streaming links for those qualifiers.
And unfortunate we couldn't watch. Maybe the boys missed out on our support, so they couldn't hear us
From your screen.
the
comment section.
Exactly, from the comment section. They've gotten some morale. But let's first pack the basketball. We'll come back to it a bit later and start with the National Rugby League. A big result. We mentioned that the big game that was coming up this weekend was the battle between the defending champions and the Heathens at Chadondo. That game that Joseph mentioned. Heathens winning at their own home and taking the bragging rights. But even the first game in the morning, the defending champions, the Black Pearls, losing to the Thunderbirds. Big game of rugby. I think a lot of people showed up despite the weather, which I think is testament to the potential of sports like rugby or even basketball. The weather wasn't that good that afternoon, but a lot of people showed up to come and show support for those two teams. Eventually, Heathens running out as the winners. And of course, there's a way Impis is always
sneaking
into the conversation. I saw a tweet where they said that you think beating Heathens is for everyone, but it's not. Of course, Impis picking up their own win on the road in Ginger. But let's start with that big game at Chadondo, Joseph, where you were. One of the talking points from that game has been about the officiation. I can't call myself a rugby connoisseur, but what exactly about the officiation are people complaining about, especially, of course, Pirates who feel that they were hard done by some of the calls on the day?
First of all, you know that saying of winners win and losers explain. So now, our friends, the Pirates, are over-explaining. The thing is, you take your L and you take it like a man when you lose, and then you go back and prepare to win better next time. And it is very okay to lose because it is also a result in the sport. However, for the officiating and for the referees, I feel like the referee of the day, that was Ronaldo Timber, had a very good game. He did very well, apart from that last moment where very many fans are having some issues with. I believe.
Let me just ask you, because rugby is a motion sport. It's not even like cricket. Is it easy for the ref to spot that offside pass?
Forward pass.
Forward pass, yes. Forward pass.
Yeah, the touchline judge should be able to spot it.
Also,
Yes,
it's a
if the
touchline
referee
pass.
doesn't pick it
The
up,
referee
then
doesn't
there
pick
is
it up, the touchline judge should be able
Or
to.
they move with the action, eh?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So the touchline judges always follow that action, and then of course the referees are supposed to call some of those things. But when you get to, say for example, Ugandan rugby, where we don't have the privilege over the technology that the other people have, say with the communication tools, with video review.
Because I've seen the international game, they can take it back. They can take the action back, even
so
if you score
they can
the try.
always review, yes, but they only review for two circumstances. That is with a dangerous play, which would be a possible yellow card, or with the try scoring. So they can't take back to review, say for example, a forward pass from like 15 phases ago. They can't do that. But our referees do not have that privilege, and I think with the circumstances, they are doing very well.
Yeah.
And we have seen very many young referees coming up and coming up and taking up the mantle to be referees. For me, on a personal note, away from Mutimba, who was in the center, but the two touchline judges are both former Impis players. They have come through the system at Makere, so I believe they know what they are doing, and this is a call, and also this is, and I think this is for the larger rugby community. I feel like clubs should really take up that incentive and sort of encourage their players. Maybe a player who got injured, maybe a player who sorry to say, will never break it. Will never break into the main team. Those players should be encouraged to go and apply their passion in the refereeing space. Say, for example, the decisions that teams that have gone against them because they're claiming there is a bias from referee X because that referee X associated with club X. Then it is also upon you to and not to sort of validate a bad decision, but I'm saying it would be
create a balance, if so it may be.
Exactly, to sort of create a balance. But in that last, okay, it was almost the last play, the one that they are mainly fighting about, Alan Karuhanga, whom I believe had not a very good game at wing. Alan Karuhanga goes in. He's in the corner flag, he's almost scoring, then they tackle him, and I think before he reaches the ground, Michael Amolo sort of rips the ball
out.
Yes, I think you had a very good viewpoint of that scenario, and I'll let you take it on from there. But Amolo rips out the ball, it goes into touch, and then I don't know what discussion the referees have in there, but the decision that they return with is a line out to Heathens. I don't know what Franklin you saw.
I think it is very unfair to start from at that point. I think it is fair to start from how the game progressed before getting to that point where, because idea that game was not supposed to come to the final play. I think there were very many.
There was something that happened in the other 79 minutes.
79 minutes before that point, and for Pirates fans, of course, me being one of them, it's just not fair for it to pinpoint.
Pirates or Cubs?
I've never been a Cubs fan. He just wants me to be a Cubs fan.
Okay.
I'm a Wayo guy. I'm a Waxo guy. But
Waxo is Cubs.
Waxo Yawan Chadondo.
Okay.
Legend. But I don't think Pirates played particularly well throughout the entire game. You look at how they considered the opening try. The ball is ripped out of Chidega, who you think should be in control of that ball. And that is because, one, I don't think
I was about to wonder, Joseph, sorry, Franklin, that image that Fred showed, that Heathens guys looks like Chidega. I thought, I was about to ask, is Chidega crossed over? Or but now that you mentioned he was in Paris, I know he did.
No, so the ball is ripped out of Chidega's hands, and his try is presented, and this is you defending. Like at that point, you're not supposed to lose the ball. Okay, that happens, and it kind of sets a tone. And in his preview, in Joseph's preview, he said that this is a game which can go either way. It doesn't matter whether you're a big team or you're the informed team or not. On the pitch, something else happens, and I don't think throughout the game, Pirates managed that game so well because they had so many opportunities to extend that game. At the time when they were whatever leading, they had so many opportunities to extend that game out of reach. But you don't want to put a game in a region where a referee has to make a decision. Okay, when you had opportunities to really stretch
kill off the game. Yeah.
And for me, that's where I have a problem with people who are kind of having a go at the ref. Because before that moment, there were very, very many opportunities to lead that game and kill it off, which they did not use.
Yeah, Joseph has said losers explain. But Joseph, I wanted to ask also, wet rugby is usually not very high scoring, but this is a game that had, for the spectators, that was a good score, 30-26.
Yes.
So, and usually from my little rugby experience that I've learned from you guys, wet rugby is really not very high scoring. It's normally 6-5 or 8-7. What was the difference this time? Is it both teams deciding to, let's go out there and then leave everything on the pitch?
You see, surprisingly, the surface at Chadondo wasn't so bad. It isn't the usual muddy surf that it usually is when it rains, and. For a ground that had hosted already 2 games that day, and then the final day, I was actually scared that things would get out of hand, which they didn't. But from the get-go, when the Heathens get that penalty that Matthew Musasizi kicks in, it has already set the tone and the intention of how the game is going to go. You get your first opportunity, you use it, and the Heathens used it in that moment. Then even if Fred could bring back that image where you see Jude Juko. Jude Juko in head, yes, Ngaraga Gundi, Bajo bad manners. Yes, Jude Juko was
Nathan Mwambali.
Is that a slip
that is
or
Nathan Mwambali.
a proper handoff?
So that is Nathan Bwambali. But back to Jude Juko, they are both hookers. Back to Jude Juko, I believe he had a very good game. He hadn't played that well in a very long time, almost 2 years. If at all you also add the seasons that he was wasting away at Eagles, but he had a very good game, even in that first try that they score. The first try that they score, it is him who actually tackles Chidega. And then I think Mongwachel rips out the ball, and then Aaron Ofoerotha does the rest of the magic with the very nice chicken wing pass out to Norbert Okenyi, who also had a very good game on the day. And then Norbert Okenyi releases his center, that is his center partner, that is Trevor Ochan, to score. And then in that moment, you could tell that the game was sort of slipping away from the Pirates. Although they're experienced players, they are very calm, they know what they are doing. But when it is 10-0 at that point, you can feel...
the Pirates were stunned. They did not expect Heathens to come that quick, that fast for them. I think they thought Heathens is going to be a little bit conservative, but of course... Ying's a rugby. But of course, again, I'll refer to what Man said in the preview. When you have Aaron Ofoerotha, he's a kind of a big game player who is always psyched up for games like that. And
bring the best out of him.
Yeah, and the way he started that game, I'm like, this is it. This is the stage for when I'm supposed to. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm still around. I'm Aaron.
Was he at number 9 or 10?
No, he
That's
was
something that you spoke about in the
yes,
previous
he was playing at number 10. He was the fly half for the day, and the starting scrum half was Matthew Musasizi, and I feel like they had a very good chemistry in that game, and it sort of allowed the rest of the pack to play because first of all, Aaron trusted his scrum half. He was letting Matthew make all the major decisions. You can always tell that when an experienced player is playing with a young player, they will sort of maybe intimidate them, overshadow them, and sort of take center stage, which Aaron didn't do. And also you could tell that because their primary playmakers were playing so well, that sort of helped also the backline to play so well. Aaron was distributing that ball very beautifully, and most of the times was finding the man of the match, Norbert Okenyi, with some of those passes, and then Okenyi just hits the gap and releases a player here and there. And I think that Heathens' backline really hurt the Pirates, and it really stepped up to the occasion when we thought that Heathens is a forwards game-playing team, and then Pirates is a backline team. But to also give Pirates their flowers, I believe William Kore was very good on the day. But then, unfortunately, I feel like Haruna and Siga sort of
were absent.
Yes, their head wasn't in the game on the day, and that also determined how the rest of the game went. So, for example, the missed opportunities that they had, you sort of feel like Alan Karuhanga had he had a very good scoring opportunity, and then he dropped the ball when he had already crossed the line for a knock-on. In a game where Joseph Foyet was not Kawa, in a game where Joseph Foyet was not Kawa.
That is always going to be a problem for Heathens. Yes. Every time you have Oyet at the wing, I don't think you're going to get anything out of
Oyet
him.
At the wing wasn't Kawa.
But of course, you have to accommodate Malcolm. So you have. I think that's the decision that the coach has had to make, and how do I get all my best players on the pitch?
And then when they bring on Malcolm, when they bring on Michael Amolo, the situation just goes from bad to worse, because Amolo was, I think he had come with a notebook somewhere, very ready to take down numbers or something, because every time they came to his wing, it was, they were just passing. And also...
do you say that in the context of defending?
Yeah,
yes, in the context of defending.
Was a highway.
Every time they were coming, there was a highway there. He would just stand and read the number and maybe note it down for next time or something. And then I believe that is the
is
other
that
weakness.
a thing of like the player fears contact?
No, he doesn't fear contact. He can take the contact. But it's a matter of sometimes the positioning. You find yourself, you've given your man an inch, and then with such fast wingers, an inch is enough for them to turn it to a mile or something, and then they beat you. And then, Franklin, I believe that is the other weakness with that Heathens backline. Everyone was on point, and I feel like the two wingers should have done better on the day, especially unexperienced Dennis Etwao, unexperienced Ojo, and then another experienced Michael Amolo, all having using, not to borrow Magogo's word, but having that sort of game. That sort of game. And then when Julius Oyuk came on, he was a very good attacking threat, and he showed why the coaches have faith in him despite the tender age. And I believe that backline is going to cook in the near future, because now they've already started getting in sync. And then we know with the way the league is set up, if at all they can win big games now and then they get to the playoffs, they have showed that they can win the big games, so let them go and win those big games also in the playoffs.
And that is confidence. That is high confidence.
Okay, now let's put it in context, the results. Of course, Heathens in the season lost to Impis, and then they've been able to beat, the first real test for Pirates. They failed. Okay, they beat Cobs, yes. But again, you always want to beat the teams that are close to you, considering that there's one playing four, and then those things into the playoffs. What is the context of this result in terms of when we get to the business end of the season, or is it too early to look
right
into
now,
it?
Right now it's a bit too early, because it was just game week, I think 4.
Yeah,
it was just game week 4. It's a bit early to tell. There are about 7 more games to come, and for Pirates, you'd be happy that now you've ticked off your two main rivals. You've ticked off the game against Heathens, you've ticked off the game against Cobs. Now you remain to win all your other games and sort of have a better position on the table, so that you set up that quarter-final with a weaker team in maybe 7 or 8.
The team is going to go against Mongers when the underdogs, man. Table-topping Mongers.
Table-topping Mongers, they are going to be playing the Pirates this weekend in Undercooked pitch at Kings Park Arena, and it is going to be quite tight for them. But
40 by 40.
Yes,
still
not a 40 by 40. They are going to be playing in a real pitch now, Undercooked pitch with very proper poles. Not those things that are in Busambaga in Entebbe.
But talk to me.
Yes, but then the context, now the context of the table is that Franklin even noted it, that Pirates were top of the table, and then they lose one game, now they're in 6th. Now Pirates find themselves in 6th, and of course Impis won its game, it is 4th, and then Victoria Sharks is 5th. But then the interesting thing is that they're all on 4 points each, but then Impis has they're all on 14 points, sorry, but then Impis has the better points difference, which shows you how competitive this league is, because a bonus point is very important. Winning by a proper margin is very important. It's not enough to beat Cobs by 2 points or 1 point, and then you get the 4 points, no bonus point, and then you find a Impis somewhere or a Victoria Sharks at the same time battering a Warriors over 40 points. It's very important that you win with a very big margin. Then at the bottom of that table, I think you can see the Kakira Simbas, the Simbas, Rhinos, and I think Warriors. They have all not picked up any point yet. They have played 4 games. They have lost all their 4 games. And then Hippos is right there finishing up that relegation playoff spot. I think when we were beginning the season, I noted how it is very important to find those 5 culprits that you can put on the chopping board. Once you find those 5 culprits, you're in the quarterfinals. Then you're safe, and then once you're safe, you can begin thinking about winning trophies. But you won't win the league if you're not in the league. So first you have to stay, then you win. But the reason why my game of the weekend, and we were talking about it earlier on, the reason why my game of the weekend is Rhinos versus Walukuba, it's quite important to find out what exactly is going wrong with the Rhinos. Apart from them being drained and depleted at the moment, that doesn't take away the fact that they still have some heavy hitters within their squad. They have some very good players who have been there for a while. This is the time to find out why they are not actually delivering, or why they haven't at least picked up a win so far. And then the other important thing about that game is that the Walukuba Barbarians come in knowing that they have forced Victoria Sharks into a draw. They have had close results here and there. So for them, they believe this is their time to beat the Rhinos, and that's why they will come with that arrogance to sort of beat the team that is sort of struggling right now. Unfortunately, they do not have the services of Shakim Sembusi, and Dennis should be best suited to help us with some of these pronunciations. But I remember that video of Sembusi asking the Ginger Hippos, Vanya abato sa dino. Something like that, if you remember that time. But the man grew up and went to Entebbe, and he's delivering for them.
Yeah. Actually, I was looking at the table just before we got here, and as 3 teams haven't scored a point yet. I think they are all in trouble.
They have been beaten badly.
Yeah.
They can't even get a losing point.
Even a bonus point is eluding them. For them to, I don't think their fate in the league is dire right now. They may be already preparing for life in the championship.
But when you look at that number 12 there, you don't even have to be worried about them. That number 12 is the Warriors. Franklin, I remember how they survived relegation in dramatic fashion. In dramatic fashion last season, they go away to Mbale. They go away to Mbale to play the Elgon Wolves, and then at that pitch they bring about 3 ambulances, and then from all the 3 ambulances, according to their Royal Highnesses of the Warriors, none of the ambulance was good enough for them because it didn't have a thing or two here, but which I feel like was an excuse to get out of playing the game. And they won by 20 points. And then when the Wolves came to Kampala, it was their fate was almost sealed, but they put up a good fight. So when you see Warriors in that relegation battle, do not even bother with them. Do not try to compare yourselves to them. No, but at least Warriors is there. No, Warriors is not there. Warriors can only win 1 game the whole season, which is that playoff in the relegation. They come to your home, you beat them by like 5, then for them they beat you by like 6, and they have won 1 game and they have stayed in the league. And that 1 game that they win is enough for them. So Rhinos and the other teams in that situation, Rhinos, Kakira and Hippos. Yes, Berondemu.
The Warriors, for them, I think they've been there, so they know what to do.
They know how to fight relegation.
Maybe different for Rhinos and Kakira Simbas, for them on how to survive. But the stay at the top for the Plascon Mongers will be tested this weekend when they host Pirates. Just before we move on, do you think they can be able to keep number 1? Because it's like you guys have mentioned, you lose 1 game and then you all of a sudden you slide down to number 7 from being number 1.
And you can see from the table, 16 points. I mean, Pirates wins, they are going to obviously around what? Maybe 19 if they win with a bonus point or something like that. But the thing with Mongers is that I think, one, it was good that they started with teams that are beatable. I think for them to kind of create some sort of cohesion within the team and belief within the team that this is a season when they can actually turn around, because right now they are a little bit high in confidence, even when they are playing against a team that is, of course, on paper, and I mean, stronger than them. They will have that kind of psyche within them that, I mean, we have won 4 games. Let us just go and try and put up a fight. And so you expect them to kind of challenge, but I don't think this is a game in which Mongers or can really put up that challenge against Pirates when they are actually coming off a loss. It would be Pirates. It would be a little bit later, because it is not going to be punishment for Mongers. It would have been a little bit later if had they won, probably. But right now it's best put forward. And again, we talk about the quality in the depth of Pirates. When you have Zayayera, Slim Gongodio, of course Umar Duff, Conrad Wanyama, all coming off the bench, you know, this is a game that they are going to approach with a lot of urgency. And I think some of these guys are going to come back into the starting lineup just to show that to Charlie.
Okay, interesting. We'll see how that goes when the Pirates host the Mongas at the Kings Park Arena in Bulgaria. That will be this weekend. See if they can be able to reclaim top of the table. There will be a Chadondo Rugby derby as well when the Buffaloes host the Heathens. Do you think the Buffaloes can do something?
Well, the Buffaloes did something last season when they won by that very slim margin. I believe that last kick of the game was missed by Walter or team, and then it was a very poor kick to say the very least, and everyone was blaming Aaron why he didn't stand up. But if at all a young man like that one puts up his hand and is the one who calls for the tee and he's a kicker, you give him his opportunity to sort of shine. And we saw Aaron doing the same thing for Matthew over the weekend, letting him taking all the to take all the kicks and be in charge of that aspect of the game. However, this is going to be a little bit different. I believe it is going to be even more competitive now because, for example, when you saw the game against Pirates again, as a reference, you saw William Corey was doing so well on the other end, controlling the game from his end, and also Aaron was controlling the game from these ends. Now when they come up against another good fly half like Yasinwa, so it is going to be even more interesting because now these are two fly halves that have been with the national team, and I believe Waswa has had a very good start with the Buffaloes. Then when it comes to the forwards, I feel like the Pirates didn't exploit the Heathens forwards a little bit there. Kudos though to the Heathens, of course Sylvester, we have talked about his throwing. He throws very well, but the addition of Julius Opio from Cobs to Heathens, I think you could see his difference, especially at that line out, and also his defense, him and his lock partner, that is Joshua, they were defending very well, and when it came to the line out, they were jumping very well. You could barely think that the previous jumpers like Uhuru and Simon Diego had been reincarnated through these two young men. They are doing very well. But now for the Buffaloes, the difference for them in that game, it's going to be their forwards because they actually have a very nice forwards pack, especially their front row. You saw that Heathens struggled when they took off Santos and Sylvester. That replacement front row that they had on was too light for that level. And that is one of the aspects of the game that I believe the Buffaloes will have to exploit if at all they are to get a result this weekend.
Okay, all right. More of that on Kawowo Sports as Joseph Madmohams will be previewing all the weekend action in the National
Sorry,
Rugby
Dennis, Impis will be beating Cobs at Makere in case... In case, and that is when we shall see Franklin's true colors. He's hiding behind Pirates. I don't know, maybe some Bulgarian buddies are confusing him. But after Cobbs losing to Impis, we shall see Franklin's true colors. His feelings will come on his sleeves.
That will be at the graveyard, right?
Yes, it's going to be at the graveyard.
That's a big
So
game
will
as
you
well.
be at the graveyard or Chadon?
I will be at Legends watching Rhinos and Walukuba.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. Joseph has picked his poison for the weekend, but the full preview will be on Kawowo Sports for you to be able to follow the action in the National Rugby League. We'll now switch up the conversations and talk about the basketball. Let's start in the league where a record was made by a team that didn't score points. I find that interesting. In 10 minutes of basketball, a team never scored a single basket.
Wow.
Didn't score a point. That's the Pearl Queens.
And they still won.
And they still won. That was also the interesting thing when they were playing against the Magic Stormers.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's start with how does it happen? Because basketball is like you put it this side and it comes this side, end to end.
Yep.
So every time they went this side, they just never put it. Nothing dropped for them. For 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Where do I start? One, in the first game of the season, what everybody saw, I think, was that Rugogo for in the opening day was that Pearl Queens are quite a bad team. I think in that game
Too much form, but not enough substance.
They took about 4 minutes without scoring, 5 minutes without scoring a basket in the opening game of the season. Of course, we would say that they're playing against a high-level competition, Jetty Jaguars, but...
Or is it good defense? Could be good defense.
But you have the attempts, and some attempts are pretty much layups. There is no you're going to blow a layup at that level when you're playing at league level. But here's the thing. One of the things that we talked about when the season started is that this team is going to struggle, at least for those that, for the initial whatever discussions that we had about this league, that in terms of personnel, they are not exactly good players. At least you could see that. But again, failing to score a basket in 10 minutes, that is just unacceptable at whatever level. And look, what that shows is that whenever you're going to run your offense, you're not kind of creating any other opportunities for you to score rather than contested, because if you're going to the half court and you cannot create one opportunity where you have a basket, you miss free throws. Okay, that is just not it. Because they missed three free throws in that, at least you had the opportunity to score even a single point in that game. But when you don't, it is just a bad sign. It is just bad basketball, and of course, like everybody else, people went to social media, of course, talk about the inability, and people want to call it banter, and how somebody said they needed to just get out of the league. How can you not score in 10 minutes? But some of the stuff you cannot justify. You cannot justify not being able to score a point against. Of course, I understand that Magistromers are quite good defensively, or they have been at least, but not particularly in this game. But they have been in the past. One of the best defensive teams probably from last season. But the failure to score a point, a basket, a free throw in a quarter, I think that is something that their coach, Anja Namilim, who was a good player herself at the QC, needs to look at properly assess, but this cannot continue happening. I understand you get the result after that, but I think you should be able to do something whenever you get to the half court, not rushing shots like that, as you see on the screen. And for me, that is very, very disturbing.
Yeah, but how do they win the game? I'm trying to wonder, because when you're not scoring, at least the other team was scoring. So by virtue of that, at least if we've won one quarter, okay, they failed in one quarter, and they literally won the other three.
The meaning
they start shooting better all of a sudden?
Yes, the meaning is that the other team also now got a quarter where they were poor. and so they just switched it up. While Pearl Queens were poor in the first quarter, the third quarter, Magic Stormers were almost as poor as the Pearl Queens were in the first quarter, and that is one thing that I think sometimes disturbs about ladies basketball, especially. There are games that come and the players are extremely casual. They don't show any sort of concern with how they are playing. They don't show any sort of a need to score. That there are some people who are actually watching this game and kind of pay their money to come.
They don't care about the fans,
you know, and that is something that shouldn't be happening at this level. Coaches should be concerned, players should be concerned, the league should be concerned.
Yeah,
the league money should be concerned.
In all fairness, it's how much about
especially now that game to Ziraga. People around the world are seeing this. You cannot be having this as your product that you're putting out.
Maybe you're benchmarking on the NBA, which is...
I'm not benchmarking on NBA.
Lower your expectations.
To sort of create a Kawowo and you cannot score a basket. It is Uganda, you're embarrassing. I think, with all due respect, I think the league should be concerned with the quality of basketball. The federation should be concerned, and of course the teams and players should get concerned, because this is not a kind of product you want to sell as a league, as a country, because you cannot monetize stuff like that. Because how do you start explaining? Instead of creating highlights, you get a whole quarter where you cannot get a single highlight.
Press delete.
You see,
The perspective from Franklin is interesting. Walcott has no highlight whatsoever.
that is pretty much what you're putting out there, and I don't think that should be happening, especially in the top division of basketball in the
I
country.
think if it's happening in the top division, then it's a bit of a worry.
It's a bit
But it's
of a
not
worry.
just Kampala Queens that are struggling with scoring points. Tony Dreleba and the KCC are also struggling.
Yep.
They failed to go past the UCU ladies.
Yeah.
It's just not. I don't know whether it is the expectation of having big name coaches that is weighing heavy on KCC. All of a sudden, they find themselves in the spotlight. That every weekend people are expecting big things, but I mean, it's just not yet there.
At this point, I don't think KCC Leopards measure up with the top opponents. Of course, they get the results against the lesser teams. Of course, like they beat Nabisunsa on Sunday yesterday. But when they are playing against teams who they are going to challenge or who are be challenging them, they're a little bit underwhelming. Not a little bit, extremely underwhelming. I don't think the players have yet kind of understood the kind of basketball that their coach Tony Dreleba wants to play. A lot of set basketball, and again, I'll say this again. It goes back to the type of players that you have. Do you want to change them once and for all? I mean, at once, or you want to be progressive with the implementation of the kind of basketball that you want them to play? Of course, when you're going to play against teams that are your level, they are going to have some sort of structure. They will have very good defensive schemes. Of course, they will have good offensive schemes. And now it means that overall, as a coach and as a team, you have to think a little bit more than you do against lesser teams. So a team will come and knowing that, okay, to win either maybe and they kind of develop defensive schemes to take out those players. So what happens after that, when they know that okay, what President Namgoza does best is kind of running. So what in the half court they don't give her any opportunities to run, and so at this point I think KCC is going to continue to struggle a little bit in the first round against teams that at their level. Of course, they'll be happy that they have, I think, played most of them. They have played JK, of course, which they beat when they were still organized. They have played UCU, whom they lost, and they have played Jet Jaguars. So the remaining part of the game, I think they should be able to kind of exercise the kind of schemes that they are trying to develop for now.
Yeah, the struggles are still. Let's say
but the struggles are there against teams that develop.
That when you're going to be on Kawowo Sports, make sure even the basketball is
be
Kawowo.
a little bit good. A little bit good.
But that just highlights that do not forget that we stream the National Basketball League on Kawowo Sports. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to not miss out on the action. And the request from the editor is that let the basketball also be Kawowo.
Also try to be good.
Also try and be Kawowo. But let's speak about the journey for the Silverbacks in Alexandria. Of course, unfortunate for them that they've been caught up in the chaos.
Yep.
But I think the last update we have is that they found a way around the chaos, and the guys should be able to get back home as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I think they will travel by road from Alexandria to Cairo, and then from Cairo, I think Egypt Air flies directly to Entebbe, so they should be able to get back home. Yeah. They've been the original journey had taken them via DXB and then into Alexandria. Yeah. But at least a way has been found for them to get back home. Yeah. Sometimes you can be very anxious when you're in that situation. Hey, man. Because you're wondering,
far away from home,
even far away from home, your families are wondering whether you'll be safe. Yeah. But that's very good news, and kudos to FUBA for finding a way around it. Yeah. So I know how federations work. Sometimes you can be in a set where even the tickets, you got them on credit to tell the agent that boss choose that's another heavy cost.
Another cost.
The federation is borrowing money from the coach. Ugandan sports and its things. Franklin, I just wanted to know, is the coach Kawa now Yaonye, or he wasn't sick at all?
should be asking the federation. What I know for now is that I think Mando June is in charge of that team. I wasn't for a team that has been that had not been active since the Afrobasket. I mean, I think when you're making some sort of a change like that, you want to give it time. You want to give a chance for this coach, first of all, to see the players that you have, whether it is local players and all that. You want, and that can only be done through a training camp. And we have had at least camps of local players here before they go join with the foreign players outside for the foreign camp. But for me, once that did not happen, and I think I wrote about it, how
the silence was
very loud. And in my mind, I thought, I don't think this coach was ready to take over, because usually when Goran Rojo was hired for the Gazelles, he was here almost in a week. Okay, and experienced a little bit of what our league is like. We had a chat with him at YMCA, and it doesn't matter when a coach is hired, at least you have to go into the country in which you had before you can take on all these things. But of course, the time was with the Gazelles. He did not come to Uganda, and personally, I think what makes you a coach of that national team is, I think, by first of all going to the country and appreciating what the country is like, to understand what kind of players you're going to work with. At, I mean, from the crude level, if you may call it that.
The better minimum. I think you have better context of
yes,
where
how
the
the better
guys come
context of
from,
where the guy come from, and
what
at what level they are. You know, and for me, that is where it starts. Once I saw once I saw Antuna here for the junior guys at YMCA, like Obotege, Katwali Uganda, the players you're going to handle, Bazanira one. And for me, that is where my head is at. I didn't think, while I was writing that, I didn't think the coach was going to be in charge of that. I mean, that silence was too loud.
Okay, let's speak about managerial is in charge with Tendo and Ben Komakech on the bench. But I mean, the performances, I only watched the game against Angola. And so you sort of feel that a lot of okay, I'm not really awesome, but I love basketball, but I don't have a deep understanding like you do. But the turnovers, I think by the time the game ended, the count was at about 25 plus. 35? 35 plus, you can imagine. You feel like those, I would say in cricket, those are the simple basics of, you know, putting down chances and things like that. How come, those are the things you expect at that level, the bare minimum, which is done well. Take care of the ball. Because maybe the other guys can shoot the lights out of you guys, and that's okay. That's a difference in skill. But you sort of feel that those bare minimums should be done well by a team like Uganda, and then maybe at the end of the day, it really came down to that, the number of turnovers we had compared to Angola. But of course, we also didn't get a good result against Egypt, who are the hosts, and then blew a 10-point lead against Mali, and then ended up on the losing side. So you sort of feel that some of the basics is what is letting us down, but the skill from the players is really there.
I think as an administrator, you have always known that. And of course, as a sportsman yourself, is that lack of preparation is preparing to fail. And I think as a country or as a team, the Silverbacks were set up to fail for lack of preparation, proper preparation for that tournament. And I don't want to give the excuse of taking care of the ball on preparation and all that. Of course, you should be able to take care of the basketball, or at least not commit as many turnovers as over 30. I think if you keep it under 20, I think that is manageable. But 15 more, and in fact, the team was lucky that they conceded only about 40 points from those turnovers. Otherwise, it would have been a little bit terrible. Now, that conceding only 40 from 30 plus turnovers means that you actually played quite well defensively. Otherwise, Ogsuland would have been close to 50, 60 of those turnovers. But I don't think the team prepared so well. In fact, I don't think it prepared for that tournament. I don't think the federation was ready. And when that happened, and I think we have evidence in basketball that every time this team has prepared well, the results have come. Whether at Afrobasket, whether at Qualifiers, and every time we've gotten results against Nigeria, we have gotten results against, of course, Egypt itself. Every time there's been prepared, of course, we nearly came close to beating Angola in Afrobasket in 2017. And that is what preparation does. And of course, in the Afrobasket in Rwanda, of course, we finished, I think, fifth or something. Okay.
You sort of preempted my next question, because I wanted to ask that I think just after COVID, post-COVID, the Gazelles and the Silverbacks, they were riding high on, and that's how they became so popular amongst so many fans. I don't know why it feels like they've taken a step back.
Yeah, and that has.
What has gone wrong in between? Have the players changed? But there's a time the emotion was really very high for the Silverbacks or the Gazelles.
It has always come down to preparation, and every time you've seen good performances from the basketball teams, the preparation has been superb. And the thing is, when you keep that up with that consistent kind of preparation you give the teams, I think that barrier at some point it's hit.
Yeah.
And because it is, with all due respect, it is not the lack of quality. Of course, we are not at that level where you have all the 12 players playing at the highest level as you're going to see from some of these West African countries or the champion. But if you have 4 or 5 players who are very good, okay, I think that helps. And when you prepare them properly, and I mean, you get our local guys to get to that level as well, preparation of, say, 3 weeks, okay? This is the only team that comes together when it is 2 weeks to the tournament. And that is just coming together. And you have a team having a player coming to the whatever they camp when it is 3 days to the tournament. Come on, man. That is not going to produce any sort of results, you know? So I don't think we prepare on
your training with your team.
Exactly. I don't think you have enough structures to kind of compete against teams who have been together for a while, you know. And if say you had the quality, if you don't have the quality of player, I mean mentally, players who are going to kind of understanding the structures that you're running, to switching up, and then straight away they'll go into that. Let us move to the and then straight away the players who are going to be able to identify what their team is playing and then quickly revert that. And you were talking about the turnovers. Of course, when you're doing a defensive scheme like that for Angola, like one, let us put pressure on the ball, double every time the guy does the ball, and force a bad pass.
Yeah.
And that is a turnover. It is just as simple as that. You don't have to do a lot of things. Force a bad pass, turnover. Force a bad pass, turnover. And that is what we did. And every time they put us under pressure of making that pass, we couldn't.
I saw Angola do that. Is that because of size? If they see, no matter how good I am with handles, but with my size and height, a bigger guy will come towards me, then I'm sort of forced to make a mistake.
Yeah, it is kind of stability. Of course, you can't train size, but also with that is that you have to be a very good defender to be able to force a turnover.
He's not a very big guy, no?
Yeah, you have to be a very good defender to be able to force that, because you're going to make a read that who is the most likely person this player is going to make a pass to, or what are his tendencies. He likes dribbling to the right. So what happens when I take out the right? It means he's going to be forced to go left, and he's not comfortable there. So if a person comes to help on that left side where he's going, the ball is almost as certain as gone. And so it is those kind of little small things that, and to be able to prepare for things like that, you need players to be around each other for a long time. You're not going to say, hey, my strength is here, because within a week when you play those scrimmage games during training, you will know that the tendencies are this side. So if I need to come and help, or if I need to be in a place where I need to get the ball out of his hands, I need to be on this side. And so that cannot be something that you clean up within a week or 4 days of training. You know, especially on Avude UK, Avude USC, Avude Kampala, hey, what up? That is it. I think that is not, it's not proper preparation. But the good thing is for people, who watch weekly Wowos, who read Kawowo, they knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing came as a surprise.
Yeah, frankly, in our octopus here is always with the right predictions. Never gave the Silverbacks a chance when they went for that World Cup qualifier in Alexandria, and an unsuccessful campaign for them. But also, sometimes to complicate matters, is that they're also caught up in the chaos
And
of what's happening elsewhere.
What is weird is that, of course, this is the first leg of the group, and then, of course, the second leg is coming in July, I think from around July 2nd or something.
There's a chance it could be in Kampala. In Hoima.
There is noise through the corridors that people around basketball and then CS are trying to
Lobby
get
for
that
it.
lobby for it to come to
It
Hoima.
would be a good thing.
But it would have been a good thing if we won one game. Because there you would be certain that if you get 2 wins at home, you can get into the second round of the qualifying. But now with 3 losses, does it make any sense to come here when you're not going to win probably any game or something like that?
we hosted Iraq, even if we were sure we're not going to win it.
We did not want to win. That by the way, that track that we hosted and we don't win, it had already been given to us way before even the previous one we had hosted. They gave us 2 consecutive years. Otherwise, had we realized that no more Kogoja is hosting an at Temjireta one.
No, we are going to host the AFCON. It doesn't mean that we have the capacity to win.
Yeah.
I think the opportunity is for us to show our capacity as a nation in terms of hosting those big events.
Yeah. I think for me to be, I mean, it would be very pleasing to have that level of competition played here and in Hoima by the way. Of course, there is talk as well of bringing the under-18 Afro basket there as well.
And there is also under-20, the Bates Cup. For rugby, it's going to be at Hoima mid this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is interest in kind of putting the facility to use.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why you build the facilities.
Yeah, if the government has the will to have tournaments, I think robbing wouldn't be a problem. People know, people around the continent know Uganda. When it comes to parties hosting. So, and by the hospitality is, I will speak for what I know. Basketball, people like Uganda. Hospitality.
No, even cricket, we are hosting a tournament next week. That starts on this week on Saturday. And Uganda is not even in it, so...
But
I mean, exactly. In terms of being a very good host, I think the Pearl of Africa has never let down anyone.
Yep.
And hopefully that basketball, irrespective of whether we shall do well or not, we hope that it comes to Uganda. But gentlemen, that's where we'll finish our conversation this week. We've broken down the rugby from the weekend, and then previewing some of the big games that will be happening this weekend. Watch out for that game when the Wounded Pirates is taking on the table toppers, the team that beat up on Impulse Entebbe Mongers when they'll be playing at the Kings Park Arena. But there was also an interesting clash at the bottom of that table where the Rhinos will be taking on the Walukuva Barbarians at the Chadono Rugby Club.
I think
and the Mighty Impis will be hosting the Cobs at the Graveyard. So some big games coming up from the weekend of rugby, but also don't miss to read out the preview from Kawowo Sports. Like I've mentioned, Cricket Uganda will be hosting the Division 2 Under-19 Women's World Cup qualifier at the Lakeside over in Entebbe. We'll have that story on Kawowo as well. Interesting tournament, 5 teams coming here. Uganda is not in it because Uganda is in the top division.
It's bigger.
But I think keenly Uganda will be looking at who comes here, because the 2 teams that qualify from here will be opponents for them later in the year in Tanzania, I think in August. So that tournament as well, again, a very big opportunity for the young girls to enjoy the Lakeside over in Entebbe. And I think they'll have a wonderful experience. They'll be staying at the hotel that is right across the ground. So
you can just walk to the ground.
Exactly, you can just walk to the ground. I think it will be a very wonderful experience for them. And like I've mentioned, the Silverbacks, I think you saw that breaking story on Kawowo Sports. The Silverbacks was stuck in Alexandria, but by the time we came here, there's been information that FUBA has been able to find a way to get the boys back home as it plan and prepare for the next round of the qualifiers that will be happening in June. So that has been our conversation this week on the Weekly Wowos.
But then,
yes,
I mean, tell the people who want to support you, who want to see you play. Who is Wanderers playing this weekend?
yeah, this weekend Wanderers is not in action. We don't have a game, but we'll be back in action on the 14th in Lugogo. We'll be taking on the SKPLS. So hopefully I'll be around and I'll be in action that weekend, but I highly
Lugogo
doubt
is
because I have some engagements, but I hope I
I
can
think
be able
Dennis,
to
you had
go.
said you wanted to play 5 games.
Yeah, I
out
wanted
of
to
the
play, but
7.
again, I have these other duties that really take me away from the
The
game.
man prefers to play away from where we can see him.
But when I play in Ogoga, I know Franklin will be. Next thing you see Franklin walking around there like shit. I am cooked on Weekly Wowos on the mat. But the Cricket League also continues this weekend. We'll have that preview of the games over the weekend, and also a lot of runs on the opening 2 days of the weekend. 3 centuries already in the league. I don't know what that is a sign of things to come, but Rizal Alisha scoring a century for the Ismaila community. The young Divash Patel, under 19 youngster, scoring a big century against SEC. And on match day number 1, the century was from whom? I've forgotten, but the story is on Kawowo. Someone scored a century. It has just run out of my head. But that the preview from the weekend games as well on Kawowo Sports. So 3 centuries already over this weekend as the teams pile on the runs. But like I mentioned, Wanderers in a stalemate with Soroti City. But there were other very, very good results. Yes, the other century was from the captain of Nile Cricket Club, the young Yusuf Isaac Namuhoroma. The name is a bit difficult, but he has some Rwandan descent, scoring a century for Nile Cricket Club as they also won their game against the students of St. John's SS Mokono. That has been our conversation this week on the Weekly Wowos. I've had the privilege of having Joseph Man Muhumuza, resident rugby connoisseur, and the editor of Kawowo Sports, Franklin Kawero. I've been Dennis Musali, your host. And until next time, make sure you keep reading Kawowo Sports.
Are you flashing your thumb?
I know, to them I'm going to say.